We need the public's help, but stay cautious trying to identify and locate somebody we have a warrant for. His name is Casey Kidd. He's a 29-year-old from Genesee County. We've got a warrant for his arrest that was approved by the prosecutor's office. Count one is abandoning animals, 4 to 10, as well as a visual offender. He's got a dangerous criminal history, so we're not asking anybody to put themselves at risk. I want to point that out. There's Crimestoppers information on this briefing. There is 911 you can call, but we want to tell you the story why we need to talk to Casey Kidd, who's got a valid felony warrant for his arrest. The good work of Sergeant Jason White and Captain Jason Murphy, the Detective Bureau. You know how what we say about dogs and violence is true, and this is just yet another case. So Sergeant White was given information approximately 3 weeks ago of dogs that were found in the backyard, chained up, and you're going to see these pictures, chained up, and one dog so tightly chained with all this wood product around its neck could not even move. There was 8 of those dogs. 6 other dogs were found starved to death and rotting. We believe our investigation that these dogs were used in a potential dog fighting ring. But 2 of the dogs we rescued, you may have seen the video that we posted last week of this reunion because they were chipped. And when a dog gets chipped, Sergeant White, what does that mean and how do we track down the owners?
So, Sheriff, when a dog gets chipped, they initially get chipped usually through the Genesee County Animal Control or a veterinarian. And when the chip gets placed into the dog, then it's able to be tracked and every department is given a chip reader. So if you find a missing dog or a dog that you think is a stray, contact your local agency, and every police department in Genesee County was issued a chip reader that we just scan right over the top of the dog, doesn't hurt the dog in any way, and that gives us the information to the chip number and the owner and a phone number that we can contact them.
Now, there were 2 dogs that had chips from 2 different houses. One was in Burton, and that little dog, a Boston Terrier, was named Stella. You saw the video, as I mentioned, that Cap Murphy and Sergeant White posted last week of the reunion. We were able to locate that owner and bring that dog back. That dog had been missing for over 3 weeks. And the distance between where the dead dogs were found on the north end to where Stella was approximately 10, 15 miles. So we believe that Kidd may be responsible for dog napping, for finding this dog and maybe using it as potential bait for a dog fighting rig. That's why we need to talk to him. That's why this warrant was approved, because probable cause led us to believe that the other remaining dogs that had multiple stages of scarring and injuries are indicative of dog fighting. When you see this happen, Cap, and you were able to reunite this dog with the family, what did it mean to that family, and why is it important for us to find Kidd?
Yeah, they're overwhelmed with joy. You know, they had been calling every day since their dog was missing. They contacted Animal Control every day looking for him. The animal control workers, they were so excited when they finally scanned him and found that chip, and they were able to call her and reunite that dog. It was amazing when we did that last week. They were so happy.
Well, that's the good side of this case. Now we're going to show you some photos of the actual dogs that are alive that the detectives found when they went on scene. These dogs were emaciated, virtually starved to death. You'll see these dogs that are now walking around. They're all alive, but I want to take note to the one that's the third. Go back to that slide, please. Third one in at the top. That's a hard chain that's wrapped around all those sticks. The dog can't move. You'll see the one on the far right of your screen with the blue like tarp below. Look how emaciated that dog is. These dogs have been starved. That Boston Terrier on the bottom right, that was the one reunited. The one next to the black dog at the top, next to the one that has the chain, that's the one that we still have to find the owner. That's the dog that was taken just in the Flint area on the east side, and we need to find his mom. The dog is chipped. We've made contact with what we believe is the owner, but if you are missing a dog that looks like that dog on that slide to the far left, we have your dog at Animal Control, and we're taking care of it. So all these are alive, and they're doing well. That was 8 of them. One's already been returned, as mentioned, but there were 6 dogs that were dead. And I put this warning video up, and I sent such a strong message because I want people to know that you can't starve, beat, torture animals to death. Number 1, it's illegal. Number 2, it leads to violence. For dogs to starve, for dogs to rot, for live dogs to eat the carcass of other dogs, That is not only just inhumane, that's immoral, unethical. And when you see these dogs that are just rotting to death, and you see other dogs alive and nobody's taking care of them, it takes days and weeks for a dog to starve and a dog to be dehydrated to death. And so I want these pictures to be shocking, to send a message, because Casey Kidd's responsible for it. So we're going to put his picture up one more time. He's got a felony charge of abandoning in cruelty to animals, 4 to 10 animals. We group them together. A habitual offender, 2nd degree. What's his criminal history?
He has multiple arrests for home invasion, dangerous drugs, a lot of assaults, things like that. So he's
We're not asking for people to apprehend them.
absolutely not. No, if you see Mr. Kidd, please just call 911 and let us know, or contact the Sheriff's Office or Crimestoppers.
And so I want you to know our relationship with Crimestoppers is one of professionalism. And Captain Murphy, who oversees all the investigative patrol operations at the Sheriff's Office, if Kidd's watching right now or his family's watching right now, what can they expect if he turns himself in? Listen to this.
He'll be treated fair, see the court, and we'll just make sure justice comes through.
And we're going to make sure that we get the side of the story. Sometimes people just get to the point where they just didn't know what to do. And if that's his reasoning, we want to find out. Now, for you out there, there's always something to do. But you don't starve dogs to death. And Cap Murphy's going to make sure that we are going to go through the process of professionalism, and we'll let the courts do their thing. But there is an active warrant. Again, Crimestoppers 911, if you have any information about where Kidd is, or certainly if you see him. But Kidd, I'm talking to you. Casey Kidd, do the right thing. Answer for the actions. Let's get this thing behind us and move on. Find out what happened, and let's get these dogs their home that they need. So I just want to say thanks to Animal Control, to the veterinarian services that we tell them about the vet real quick. What's
Yeah, Dr. Travers is the veterinarian that services Genesee County Animal Control. She also works with Adopt a Pet down in Fenton, and she is an absolutely amazing person. She does such a fantastic job with these cases. Her reports are just so detailed and just makes my job so much easier. So
to the ACOs out there, to the Genesee County Humane Society, to the directors, both Jay Parker and Dick Schmieder, thank you so much. You're doing a great job. Any questions from Channel 12 or WNEN 5?
I guess just how important is it for the community that this guy is caught?
Cap?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Obviously, you heard Sergeant White talk about his criminal past, and you saw the images of those dead animals, and the other ones that were saved, they're well on their way to dying, so it's important to get him into custody. So anybody with the information, please just contact Crimestoppers 911 or our number 810-257-3422 if you know where he's at, and we'll go find him and get his side of the story.
And I know this isn't tied to this particular case, but we did run a story yesterday talking about dogs being left abandoned. I don't know if you've heard about priority waste. There were some garbage truck workers who found a dog in a trash bag on their route on Wednesday. Were able to save the dog. Do you guys have any information on that you can share?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sergeant.
in fact, Ebony Curry called me yesterday. I spoke with her yesterday about that. We do have a suspect in custody on that, and I did speak to the Director of Public Relations with Priority Waste Management. The dog is doing better, still not out of the woods yet from what Dr. Travers tells me, but it's well on its way to recovery, and I believe the gentleman who found her is going to try to adopt her.
So to James's point from NEM, we had a garbage crew find a dog that was barely alive, but alive, approximately 2 weeks old, and it was just discarded while still alive.
Correct.
And because of the good act of that crew, we were able to get the dog rehabbed, do the investigation, and this is a good circle. But I think what we want to find out is, if you have a puppy that you think is going to die, you don't need to pay a dime. If you call somebody, 911, and say, listen, I have a dog that I think is going to be dying, there's humane ways to do it, but not throwing a live puppy away in a garbage pail.
Right, Sheriff. Yeah. The thing we stress all the time is if you have a dog or an animal that you can't care for, please just call us. Call us, call any of the outreach groups, call Animal Control, Humane Society, any of these groups. We'll be more than happy to help you as much as they can.
Thank you.
Do you have any information you can share on that suspect at all?
It's still an ongoing investigation, so I don't think we can really discuss
Is he
it at
in
this
custody
point.
right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when does he get arraigned?
We'll have to submit a warrant still.
Okay, all right. So He's in custody, and the process is that we get the probable cause. We submit the warrant maybe today or tomorrow, because we have 72 hours less than to get him charged. So I anticipate that being tomorrow. But let's make sure that we get this news outlets first thing when we get the information. You'll have it, because you covered the story, and I appreciate it.
A lot of people aren't connected to any sort of animal cruelty, and why is this important to everybody in the community?
Violence equals violence. Abuse equals abuse. And the stats will show when you are able to listen to the whines and cries of a companion animal as they starve to death, that your heart is hardened when it comes to children and the elderly and the mentally ill and domestic partners. And we see there's a natural trend. 6 out of 10 mass shooters all abuse animals or torture them before they kill humans. 7 out of 10 domestic situations involve a threat against a companion animal in the house during the domestic. So this is a real stat. And it's important even for non-animal owners, because if you're going to do that, it's just a matter of time before it tips the scales. That's why we're so aggressive on holding people accountable and also rehabbing these animals and using the platforms of our media friends to get the message out. Thank you, everybody. Great job, Sarge.
Thank you,
Nice
sir.
work, Cap.
Thanks, sir.
And we'll see you next time.